CEO of Baked International since July last year, and I've been in the network for quite a long time, but what surprises me is the increasing amount of energy we see in the network. And picking up on Joe's comment, the energy, the vibrance of New York, I think it is the best venue for us to have this conference, because it reflects the vibrance in our network. And these tax conferences have come a long way. The first one was, so we've always had a tax conference in the network, right from day one. The first one was in 1988. Who was there? I don't expect to see any hands, because we had 4 delegates. And here we are now. This was, until 2 years ago, this was a European conference, a European tax conference, with an increasing number of delegates from Europe, but also from outside the region. Last year was the first time we did a global tax conference in Lisbon, still in Europe, and this is actually the first one outside Europe. And I was a bit worried, will we get to the same number of delegates as we had in Lisbon last year because of the massive European attendance there? But we've actually exceeded that. We're 169 delegates from 40 countries, and I think it's wonderful. It's a great event. I wanted to give a quick update on what's going on in the network. I've only been given 15 minutes. If I would have to update you on all that's going on, it would take a couple of hours. So if I miss anything you find very important, my apologies in advance. I'm just going to do a snapshot of a couple of things we are currently working on. And it starts with New York. Client events. Yesterday we had a great global tax forum with 20 clients. Almost all of you were there. I think a fantastic speaker, and I would like to thank Baker Tilly for hosting that event, and in particular Jim Alabagyu for organizing it. Next one, and this is about the whole world. As you know, we're working on a refresh of our brand. We want to modernize it. We are working on an exciting modern look and feel, which is going to be available in the next few months, and with a launch in October next year. And what we've done also is, it's not a brand is not just a logo and colors, it's also what does the brand stand for. And we have done a lot of research with all of you, with all our member firms and with clients, what does the brand mean? And the brand positioning that came out of that is on the screen here, now for tomorrow. What does that mean? It means we help clients navigate an uncertain future, and we do that by having tomorrow's conversations today. So plan ahead. We're open-minded about that. We're creative in helping clients. It's not just us saying that about ourselves, it's clients saying us, and which means it's quite easy to deliver on this, because this is authentic. This is what we are. That's where we are now with the branding project. As I said, look and feel will follow later on. It's really an exciting move forward for the network, and I think next year, when we're together in Toronto for our World Conference, we will have all the new look and feel, the new logo everywhere. The next one to talk about, Global Tax Solutions. You all know what Global Tax Solutions is. It is an innovative concept to serve multinational clients with a centralized support team. We always say there is one contract, there is one contact, and there is one bucket of cash. The client can get the structure they want. It's a very powerful concept. It's been a proven concept in the last few years. It is, it's now going into the next stage, where it was driven by and owned by Baker International. We're now going to have a number of member firms as the shareholders help driving this initiative forward. The map here shows all the countries, all the firms in the countries that are now involved in Global Tax Solutions project, and it's 70 countries. And that's further going to increase. And what we've built over the last few years, and I have to credit Chris and his team for this, is a pretty consistent global capability, because part of Global Tax Solutions is also to monitor client performance of each and every firm on a quarterly basis. where there is a need for improvement, to make those improvements with the firms and with the client. So there is a process of continuous improvement, which is part of the power of the whole concept. Next on the map is, this is also a global thing, what are our differentiators? I spoke about the now for tomorrow, the positioning. The differentiators, let's say Global Tax Solutions is a differentiator. It's a different way of organizing client service. Our biggest differentiator is who we are and how we work together. When I was a trainee, I was in courses with Big Four people. At that time, they were the Big Eight. It's quite a long time ago. And they would say to me, your network, I was already working with a Baker Tilly firm, your network is a directory. It's just a book where you have firms. If your client needs service in another country, you have to look up which firm you have there, call the person, it's probably someone you've never worked with before, and it simply doesn't work. And they would say, our network, we know each other, we meet frequently, and we can provide clients with sort of a virtual team approach. And this is like 35 years ago. If you look now, the Big Four have grown to a size where they can't do that anymore. They've lost that capability to collaborate in the way they had 30 years ago. We are now the size of what the Big Eight were at that time. And we have this nice combination of being big enough to be very professional, but on the other end, small enough to be partner-led. And we have those great relationships. We have still a size where we can get together with 160 or 200 people to have fun and collaborate and explore opportunities. And that is something we want to keep. It's a strength we have. It's a strength that can't be replicated by the Big Four. And we continue to invest. And from that perspective, I'm really pleased to see that the conferences are getting bigger. We get more and more people. Every conference this year was a record attendance. We have lots of other events where you are working together, even training sessions, client meetings, client service meetings. So we want to keep doing that, and we want to do more of it, because those personal relationships are the secret of our success. Recruitment and retention is, I would say, the key success factor for a professional services firm. Part of the reason we're doing a brand refresh is not because we can't find clients, but a refreshment, a modern look and feel, and a brand that stands for something is also a great way to attract talent. Branding is now more than 50% employer branding. Using your brand to attract the right people and retain the right people. And we all know retention is now an issue. Millennials, I think the average tenure of a millennial to stay in one job is like 1.7 years. I have spoken a lot to millennials. I've worked a lot with millennials. I think there are ways to keep them longer. They want challenges. They want interesting work, international work. And there's a lot you can do, actually. And if you speak to them, they don't want to do job hopping all the time. They want some certainty, but they want a nice job. They want a career, and they want to work for a dynamic organization. And I think we're quite good at that. We're quite well positioned to do that. We can do better. One of the things where we can do better is secondments. There was research recently done by the ACCA. This was accountants, not tax advisors, but they asked all the young people, do you want to go on a secondment abroad? And I think 80% said yes. And it's, if I speak to in member firms to the employees, and I ask them, show of hands, who wants to go on a secondment abroad? It's quite similar. So I assume in tax it's going to be the same. And that is something to work on, and that's something for you to think about. Can we share, do staff exchanges between the firms? In tax it might be a bit more difficult than in accounting, but it certainly is worth doing it. It's a great incentive for the staff. It's a great way to build international relationships. And it is also a great way to do business development between the two firms involved. Next one, technology. And here the two dots represent Barcelona and Munich. Why Barcelona and Munich? There are two people in those cities. It's Fabio Del Bosco and Ines Pausch, who came up with a great idea a while ago to develop a tax app. I was actually at the meeting where it was proposed. It was in, I think it was in Düsseldorf. I'm looking at Ines. And the Tex app has been created, the Tex map, and it's quite an innovative approach. I said what we had was country tax guides, and if we would have all of them printed, it would be a whole shelf of country tax guides, 150 different guides. We now have one app that has all the information in it, has a lot more, has also news feeds. I think it's a great tool. We're going to hear more about it today from Yo-Yo. And I would like to thank Fabio and Ines and Adam Granger from Global Office for developing this, from taking this initiative. And I think it's also a great example that we are really a member-driven network. This sort of initiative coming from member firms is fantastic. So if you have great ideas, share them. Here's a good example what can come from that. And there is more on technology we're going to hear about later. We are looking at, once you've done one app, you think, can we do other apps? Or can we make the app better than what we have now? So there's going to be development. Next one, training. We've done a very successful training in London this year, in the summer. This was an introductory course for, let's say, young managers. These trainings are always great because it's good content. The feedback is always very good on the content, and it is a good way to build relationships because these manager-level people are often the people that work closely together on assignments. So getting them to know each other better is really good. Next year, we're planning an intermediate course in Prague, also in July, and we had, not forget to mention, an advanced course here, and the feedback I had from people was that it was terrific. So we're going to do another training next year in London just before the Global Tax Conference, similar to what we did now. Another point on global training. This is Latin America. All the training that was done in Europe was videoed, and it is distributed in Latin America. Latin America is geographically quite big. You're always surprised if you come from Europe how big the rest of the world is and how long the flying distances are. So Latin America has a different delivery model. So the training was videoed, it was translated into Spanish and distributed to the member firms. And I would like to thank Anna Gislandi from Uruguay and her team for leading this in the Latin American region. Where are you, Anna? Not here. Still running. Another one to mention, the World Tex Awards. There is a World Tex Review, quite a renowned institute to rate tax firms. And our member from Hughes Blake in Baker Tilly Hughes Blake in Ireland has been awarded a ranking which is at par with EY in Ireland, and I think that's really something to be proud of. I think we're going to hear a bit more about World Tax Awards later today, because it is a way to develop the profile of Baker Tilly as a first-class brand, global brand for tax services. The last one is the Global Tax Conference. So New York this year. Next year, we're going to go back to Europe in September in London. And the year after, in 2019, we are going to Singapore. And from 2019 onwards, the Global Tax Conference will be combined with the World Conference. This creates a bigger event with additional leverage to interact with people in other disciplines that come to the conference. So I hope we will continue to see many of you, all of you, and many people more at those tax conferences. As I said, it is a great way to develop our relationships, develop business. And I think there's never been a better time for our network to look at opportunities in the market. There is, as I said, the economies are back into growth in most countries. There is a distinct move from the Big Four back to the top end of the market. there is this space in the middle market, and middle market is quite big companies, quite big international companies. There is this space which is, I would almost say, there for grabs for us. Now is the time to work on those opportunities together. I think this is, as I said, this is just a flavor of all the things going on. There is a lot more, but if you want to hear more, I'm going to be around for today. I'm going to be here tomorrow, so please speak to me. Thank you for listening, and I'm now going to hand over to Tanya, I think. Yeah, thank you.